President Donald Trump adds 5 more judges to his list of potential nominees to the Supreme Court. The list includes federal appellate judge Brett Kavanaugh, who dissented when his colleagues recently allowed an immigrant teenager to get an abortion. Another name is federal appellate judge Amy Coney Barrett, who faced criticism for her Catholic faith during her Capitol Hill confirmation hearing. President Trump says he will choose from this expanded list of judges to fill future Supreme Court vacancies. Joining us now is Marjorie Dannenfelser, president of the Susan B. Anthony list. Marjorie, good to have you this Thanksgiving week.
Great to be here. I'm very grateful.
So looking at this list of nominees, what's your impression of this list?
Oh, it's a fantastic list. The first list was great. This addendum is ideal. You've got Amy Barrett, who was subjected to this horrendous, just a horrible communication from Dianne Feinstein that somehow her faith would disqualify her as a judge. Well, the last laughs on the senator. She is a judge now.
Dogma is living loudly.
Dogma living loudly. I want that button on me. And then there's Brian Kavanaugh, who was who had a very strong dissent in the case of Jane Doe, the young woman, undocumented immigrant who ended up getting an abortion. But he strongly disagreed and communicated it beautifully. Those two are on that list. This president's doing what he said he was going to do.
There are no Supreme Court vacancies, though, at this time. So is this list even relevant? Should we be paying attention to it?
Oh, yeah. It is the investment in our future. And it is really based on the very real the reality that it looks that we will lose at least a couple of judges during this president's term. There is a very strong rumor that Kennedy could be gone in the fall, which is quite soon. These rumors come up all the time. Sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not, but they're based on the reality that we have an aging Supreme Court, and we could have 2, even 3 justices to replace. So this list means everything. It should be a focus of great attention and great gratitude right now.
That we're prepared for that.
Yes.
Speaking with Ken Paxton earlier in the show, it's a reminder that judges make a difference, not just at the Supreme Court level, but at all different levels. With that Texas dismemberment abortion ban. Would you agree with that? And how has President Trump been doing with nominations at all levels?
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing fantastically with the nominations. They're very slow in getting through the Senate, and this is a problem. But you're right about the importance. It was a campaign promise that really swayed the election in a lot of ways for the first time ever. He's following through on nominations, and clearly Gorsuch was a beginning. But when you look at the dismemberment ban that the Attorney General was discussing, it matters profoundly. It is the whole ball game. What judge actually looks at that when it will inevitably be challenged? That judge will have the ability to set it aside, or and perhaps it'll be challenged again. But then it'll go to an appeals court. Will be another bank of judges who look at it. It's really the whole ball of wax.
Speaking of justice, staying on this theme, the FBI is signaling a possible investigation into Planned Parenthood and whether they illegally sold fetal tissue from aborted babies. Planned Parenthood has come back and said the 3 congressional committees, 12 states, and a Texas grand jury has found no criminal wrongdoing. Is that correct?
It is amazing to me the ease with which they lie. That is simply not true at all. In fact, quite the opposite. I mean, 3 congressional committees and then a Senate committee looked through 30,000 pages of evidence and then produced a 470-page report of evidence that they might have been doing this. It is so clear and present and threatening to Planned Parenthood that they are clearly lying in the face of it. So on the state level, 12 states, they claim 12 states have looked at this and set aside those charges. Absolutely not true, because what was an investigation on the House and Senate level was not an investigation on the state level. This just passed through these offices and they did cursory reviews and decided not to look at it. So we have to look very closely at their claims.
Marjorie, it's been over 2 years since those undercover Planned Parenthood videos were first released. What would you like to see from the federal government in investigating Planned Parenthood and whether or not they illegally profited from the sale of aborted baby body parts?
Well, 2 things must happen. One, I believe, and that is the investigation of what's going on. And just recently, the Attorney General Sessions requested information from Senator Grassley's committee about their findings. That is moving forward. I'm going to have a meeting with him in a few weeks. We won't even be able to talk about that because, thank God, we believe it's an ongoing investigation. But on the other hand, also the Senate and the Congress and this president have the ability to allow states to cut off funding for Planned Parenthood through Medicaid. That can be done very soon. And that is something that we're really calling calling on to happen very soon. In fact, the President can do that without the Congress. The Congress, however, in their leadership role that they have, I believe should be calling on the President to do that. I think he can do that. We just need a little bit more movement in the Medicaid system here.
Let's see if that movement happens. Marjorie
Yes.
Dannenfelser, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.